and off we go.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. And so last week we tried to figure out what we were going to do. Oh, by the way, my name is, I should probably say this. My name is Alan Russo. I work with the Chatham County Council on Aging, and I'm the meal site manager at the Easton Center. And this is my hobby, wood turning. And last time we talked, we thought we might try to make something square, which kind of seems a little weird since a lathe turns. But I wanted to show you this bowl. Let's see if we can see that. Let me try to. I'm gonna move so that's a little better, right? So this bowl is actually an octagon.
Yeah.
So you really could make anything you want, as many sides as you want, but we're gonna work on something square today. Now, this might be pretty interesting because I haven't done this in a really long time. So this is gonna be a first in many, many years. So we'll see what happens. You ready to go for it?
Oh yeah.
All right, so I just want to move my camera around so you guys can see the lathe. So I'm gonna work with this piece of butternut. And can everybody hear me pretty well?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna work with this piece of butternut. And I really like butternut. It's a hardwood, but it's kind of soft. The only problem is my nose doesn't like butternut very much. For some reason, I must be allergic to it. And whenever I sand, I really, really have to make sure that I wear a mask. So the first thing we want to do is, if you really, really want to make something like this, right, you really have to make sure that your block is perfectly square. And I did my best with the tools that I have to get this square. The next thing you need to do is to find the center. So what you do is you basically just take a straight edge and you mark that way, and then you mark this way. And I put a little indentation. Now to start, I want to put this, I want to work on the top. I'm actually going to make a box. I want to actually start working on the top of the box first. And I'm going to use this faceplate. Now, I'm kind of eyeballing it. I'm just basically looking down the center to see if that X is in the middle. And I'm hoping that that's close enough. And we're going to put some screws in there so it doesn't go anywhere. And this is how I'm going to hold the piece of wood on the lathe. Whoa.
Whoa.
It's not in the center anymore. There we go. All right, once I put this in, I thought I would do it on the top of the lathe so it's high enough for you guys to see, but obviously the ways of the lathe is nice and smooth. So I'm going to put this actually over here so when it spins.
You know, Alan, you want me to hold it for you?
Okay, please, if you can.
You know, I'm always.
I can hear you. Go ahead. Oops. Yeah.
Ooh, that one is acting ugly.
Yeah, this thing wants to get away. He's like, no, please don't turn me. You know, this is one of those things that, you know, anything that can go wrong will. Well, it only took me 4 screws to figure out if I hold it, it won't spin. It's not exactly in the center, which I guess is okay, but we'll see what happens. So now we mount this on the lathe, and let me move the camera up a little bit like that, like so. Now, one of the things about turning something square is it's relatively dangerous because, you know, when you're working on something that's round, and if you happen to hit your finger against it, it's really no big deal. You might get a burn. But if you do, if I have this here like this, and my finger goes over the thing and it comes down,
And break your finger.
yeah. So I really got to be diligent to what I'm doing here, and I'm gonna go nice and slow. And we always turn it by hand first to make sure it's not hitting. And I'm gonna go nice and slow. So actually, I don't even need this yet. Sorry. Like I said, I haven't done these in a while. The first thing actually I need to do is I want to drill a hole, which is really going to be part of the box. And I'm really going to drill the hole to make things go a little faster. Obviously, you can turn the hole, which is but a lot of people start. Now, this is important because we don't want to go through the bottom of the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to figure out, I don't want to go all the way through. I'm going to leave about a ½ an inch on the bottom. So it turns out that this drill is exactly the length that I need. Normally I just put a piece of tape on there to mark it, but this is the depth I want to go, right to the end of the drill. So let's get that in place. And we'll turn this baby on. Oops, that's going a little too fast. Put my safety gear on while I'm doing this. Actually, I'm so used to putting my faceplate on, I forget that you guys can't hear me if I'm wearing that. So all I need to do is, I'll show you, let me move this over so you can see. So basically what I'm doing right now is using my lathe as a drill press, and I'm turning this. And these are called Forstner bits. My Forstner bits are really old, and they're not real sharp, and I tried sharpening it, but if anybody out there knows how to actually sharpen a Forstner bit, I could use a lesson. But luckily butternut is a relatively soft wood. So it looks like this might take a little while. Now I still got about another, say, inch to go. And remember, I only want to go as deep as the bit is long. Let me get some of that sawdust out of there. You know what? I'm actually going to stop a little bit short. That'll just give me a little bit of little extra leeway. Now, one of the things about these Forstner bits, let me pop this out and I'll show you.
How big is that Forstner bit, Alan? Is it 2 inches?
You know what? I think it's worn away, and I'm not really sure, but it's about that big.
Yeah. Well, mine takes forever. Mine takes forever to drill a hole, and I don't know how to sharpen it.
Yeah, sharpening these things are not that easy, I guess. So the Forstner bit, let's see if you guys can see it. It has this point at the end. So which means there's a little dimple down at the bottom that there's a hole. The rest of the bottom of the box is actually pretty smooth. What I need to do is go in there and get rid of that. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. So now we turn. Need to take the tailstock off to get it out of the way. I'm going to see if I can get this down here so you guys can see. It's going to be So what I'm going to use to do this is a hollowing tool. And basically, it's just a little scraper. Let's see, right there. It's just a little scraper. I'm going to go in there and scrape that and kind of round out the bottom a little bit. Oops. Look at that. I broke my own rule. It just jammed on there. Here we go. Remember I said always spin the wood by hand first?
Yeah.
Make sure this is in a good spot. It's a good thing I don't have a really powerful lathe that probably would have knocked a piece of wood right off. This lathe is only 3/4 of a horse. Yeah, okay, so that should be good. So I know it's really hard to see in there, but I'm just gonna round out the bottom a little bit to get rid of that dimple. And I'm not gonna worry too much about sanding and all that stuff right now. So I hope, I'm gonna turn a light on if you guys, I hope it doesn't mess things up for you guys, but it's really hard for me to see in there. Is that a little bit better?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, I still have a little bit of a dimple on the bottom. Thanks for answering me, Lynette.
No problem.
I like it.
I know you
I like
like,
to feel like I'm having a conversation.
feedback. I know, feedback.
Good morning, this is Jackie Green. How can I help you?
All right, let's see.
All right, I'll be out in just a second. All right, bye.
Let's see how that looks. Not exactly the way I want it, but give me a second. Let's see, what tool should I use next? I'm actually going to go in there with the Badan, I think. I don't think I have a flat scraper. Let me see if I can find one. Actually, I do. It's not that sharp, but we're going to give this a try. I want to raise the tool rest when using a scraper, because you're really supposed to use the scraper in a downward motion, at least slightly. All right, so that's a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm going to try to actually do a little sanding. And
Is the dimple
I'm
gone?
going to have to put my dust mask. Is what?
Is the dimple gone? The dimple. Did you get the dimple out?
The devil?
Dimple.
Oh, dimple. I thought you said the Yeah, it's pretty much gone. It's not perfect, but you know what? Since I really can't go back and redo this, let me actually do this right. You guys have nowhere to be, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
See, good move. Turn it by hand first. There we go. Lock it down. that's a little bit better. I think I could get the rest of that with a piece of sandpaper. So I'm gonna my dust mask on just real quick. Do a little sanding on that. I'm gonna use a heavy duty sandpaper. This is a 60 grit. It's so weird, like when you're turning something square, like normally when something's round, I'm doing a bowl or something. To slow it down, I'll put my hand here just to sort of use it as a. I almost went to do that just now.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll only do it once. All right. Well, you know what? That's good enough for what we're doing right now. So now I want to give this some kind of a shape. And I know it's kind of hard to imagine what I'm trying to do here, but it'll start to make sense in a couple of minutes. So this is going to be the box itself, and I'm eventually going to put a top on here. And what I want to do is I want to shape this down this way. And I'm going to take a gouge to do that. And we'll see what happens here. So let me show you one of the really tricky things about doing something like this.
Z.
Turning part right here is not going to be a big deal. But once I get
Hold on a minute.
close to where...
I just came back. Let me mute this.
What's that, Jackie?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I thought.
Oh, okay. So I really want to smooth this out first, and I want to make it square. But the trick is, like, when you get to this part, you're actually going to be turning.
Hello.
We call it turning air. So you have to be really careful that you're not pushing on the tool, because if you push the tool too hard and you go into that airspace and then this comes down and grabs, you could blow your piece of, and yeah, you could get hurt. So you really got to be careful when doing this. So that's why one of the reasons I'm not coming in from the outside, because you don't really know exactly when that's going to catch. So I'm going to work from the inside out. It's a lot safer. You can hear it bouncing a little bit, which means it's not completely flat. So right about, you can actually see where the round up part is on the lathe, and then where the blur is. So right about there is where I'm getting into turning some air. You can actually hear it when I get to the end. It's like really just kind of clicking. So because I'm being so cautious, it might take a little while. Gotta give this some kind of shape at least. starting to overhang the tail, the tool rest, a little more than I like. So I'm going to actually bring this in a little bit closer. And that's actually coming out pretty good. I like that it has that little section of sapwood there. Yeah, when you get to the very end, you really got to be careful, because if you get a catch, you're going to break one of those wings off. I'm about halfway down. All right, I'm going to move. I need to move the tool rest again. Now, what I'm really going to do is just the basic shape of this, and if I get this a little closer for you. Of course, you could make these all kinds of shapes that you want. Really slow at the end here so we don't chip anything off. Right, let's see if I can get a little bit better shape on this thing. Oops. So let me move this camera around so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And let me see, I'm gonna just put this here for a second. You can kind of see the shape that I'm trying to get here.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it's hard to see from where you are. Let's see. So let me, I'm gonna move this a little closer again, the tool rest. And to see what the cuts are looking like. And starting to get a little tear out there and a little nip right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it looks like, so we got, it looks like the end grain is chipping out a bit.
Is there any way to avoid that?
You know, different woods are just, you know, like if there was a bed, like if I was using, say, maple, for instance, like take a look at the growth rings on this thing.
Yeah.
They're really far apart.
Yeah.
So if you get a chip, it's going to follow one of those rings, and you can actually see it's actually following this one here.
Yeah.
So yes, a more solid, more tightly grained piece of wood would work better for this. But let's see what we can do.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure. I mean, Alan, feel free to jump in if you have any suggestions. It's really hard to get a smooth cut because it's bouncing so much. No matter how hard I try, I'm still getting the bounce from the tool. Got a little tear out there. Still got that one. I'm going to try to get past those if I can. Probably, you know, Ken, I was just thinking another way to actually to help avoid that, because I'm turning so slow, there's a lot of air and a lot of chance for the tool to move in. If I was turning a lot faster, the pieces would come around faster and there wouldn't be so much in and out with it. It actually seem a little bit smoother. But
Well,
since I'm not wearing,
that makes a lot of sense. I thought maybe how sharp your tool was had a difference, but I'm not sure about that.
well, yeah, it does. But you notice it's really the end grain. To see how rough it is right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty smooth. And then, of course, the end grain again. But I'm going to try to smooth that out with, they call it a shear cut. And basically what you do is you turn the tool all the way on the side like this, and you try to slice the wood if you can.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll see if that helps. And since I'm going to turn it up a little bit faster. And I'm going to put my faceplate on and see if you guys can still hear me. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Yes.
Okay, good. I feel a lot better working with something like this with a faceplate on.
Well, do what you got to do to be careful.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but before I wasn't getting all these really nice shavings. See how fine these are?
Yeah.
When you do the shear cut, you're actually slicing the grain rather than tearing it. So hopefully that'll help. Either that, I'm just going to have to sand the heck out of it. Let's call this conceptual turning. I'm trying to teach you the concept, even though the piece might not come out that good. Yeah, that's a big, take a look right here. I didn't get this far. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but this is really rough right here, and this is much, much smoother.
Yeah, it looks different.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, so I'm going to finish that all the way down. still a little bumpy. I just want to try to smooth this out a little bit, guys. Because I'm not going to really have the time, I don't think, to go over this with to sand this the way I really want to, because this really needs a power sander. I'm going to turn the speed back down, get this out of the way. I'm going to try to hit that with a little sandpaper. And I'm going to use 60 grit again because I'm trying to 60 grit because I really need to try to smooth this out. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, because of those wings, I would probably, if I was really going to take care of this, I'd actually probably sand a lot more off the lathe. Right here, we got a lot. Got a lot of tool marks there. I'm going to hit it with the tool one more time. All right. All right, that's actually a little better. I put a little cushion because it's really starting to bounce. All right, so get the idea there. Got a little bit of something going on here, a little design. The basic.
Alan, the camera moved.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was talking to myself for a little while there, huh?
Well, we heard you. We just couldn't see it.
Right, so you know what? That's good enough for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, and now the trick is to turn it around. So this is going to take a minute. So the only way that I could think of turning this around is to actually make what's called a jam chuck. Let's see if I could do this without.
Ooh.
Good thing I'm not selling this piece. Actually, I lucked out. It landed in this. It landed in the sawdust.
Must be living right.
You know what Einstein said, right?
What?
You guys know what Einstein said? He said his insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yes.
So you think I would have learned to hold on to it stronger, but no. So what I need to do is I need to make a jamb to put this on. And to do that, I'm going to use this piece of wood right here and this chuck. Wonder why they call it chuck.
That's a good question.
All right, so here's the trick. Let's see. So what we need to do here is measure the inside diameter of this.
So that will fit in it.
Yep. And I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger so I can work down to it. And then I have to make a tenon that size. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to measure how deep this is. Because I want it, it needs to actually bottom out on this, not on the bottom. So let's see. All right, I don't actually need this right now. All right, I'm gonna go at this really quick. I'm not sure what the time is, but.
It's
All
quarter
right,
to
get some
11.
goggles on.
Looks like it's quarter,
Okay,
quarter till 11 there, Alan.
Yeah.
thanks. So probably go, guys. Oops. Turn it down a little bit because I want to start to size this just to get an idea. So that's still too big. So I know I'm at that diameter because the calipers actually fall down.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the heck of it, let's just see if this will fit on there. So nope, it's big, which is good. So I'm gonna actually bring the whole thing down to that point and then work on it to get it. Let's see, we don't need that. Okay. Actually, let's see. Now I got to consider the depth of it. So that right there, jamming it up to about there is good. I don't know what I did with my baton tool. Hold on a second, guys. I lost my tool. I put it back in the wrong place. That's why. Here we go. I'm just going up to that line. And now I got to start thinking about sizing it so this fits on there. So I'm going to go down just a little bit more in here. Nope, still too big. You've seen me work on these jam chucks before, and it does take a little bit of time, but getting it right is kind of important to hold your piece on really well. Getting close. Ooh, almost right there. I'm gonna take a little bit off at a time now. Yep, that's what I want. I'm gonna try to keep this diameter all the way down. Went a little deep on that. All right, let's see how that works. A little too tight. I could see it had a couple of bumps in it. Maybe that was holding it back, but it's actually hard to get a jam chuck to fit that far down because the wood has so many, you know, when you're cutting grain, some grain is soft right on the same piece of wood. Grain could be soft in one place and it could be hard in another spot, so you get ridges. And I may not need to go this far down with this. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this, so. I don't know how I messed that up so much, but I think that's going to work. Let's see, we're still going there. Woohoo! Now, I know that the inside of the box is this diameter. So what I want to do is, I already have the center marked off on this side also. So I actually want to put this right in the center like that and kind of mark off. It just has to be a rough idea of what the inside of the box is. Is this going to work? Yes. So I just want to mark that off real quick. Let's see, it's right there. So that line, let's see if you guys can see that. You know what? Let's get rid of this. Nope, maybe not. Well, I don't know if you guys can see it where you are, but I can't see it that well there. But this line is the diameter of the inside of the box. I want to make the thickness of the wall of the box about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to put another line right about there. Now I know not to go in past that line. So what I have to try to do now is to hollow the rest of this out. And to do that, I'm going to move the camera over to this side again so I can get to the front of the lathe. And let's see. You guys are too quiet. Somebody say something.
Hey,
You're doing a great job.
Job, Alan.
You have them all mesmerized, Alan.
Is that what it is?
That's it.
All right, so I'm actually going to go to a smaller gouge because I'm really only going to be working in this little area right here, and you can see that I can't go past. Let's say, make another line. So I'm working within this line and this line, and I want to kind of outline it out and try to make a little box right there. You guys, you think you could sort of visualize this yet? Right,
Say that again.
I was just wondering if you can start to visualize what this might look like. I know it's
No, I have
it's
no
a little
idea.
weird.
See,
It could come out looking like
Mystery.
Santa Claus, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked that we only had 7 hours. I thought that'd been a little bit more than that. Kind of typical. So, Andy was assuming that about it, and he was right. 266 hours. So it makes it difficult. Yeah, it makes it difficult trying to convince him otherwise. But yeah,
I really need to do something about
Alan
it.
Reed, I think I could hear you talking there, but I couldn't really understand you. Could you try that again?
Oh,
What's
that wasn't me. I wasn't saying anything. It was somebody else.
Oh,
Okay.
I couldn't tell what they were saying.
I couldn't either.
So basically what I'm doing right now is it's almost like making a bowl on the bottom to hollow out the rest of it. I'm going to work mostly on the outside because that's the tricky part. And the rest of this I could go after really, because it's solid, I could really go after it. But this you got to be careful with.
All right. Well, sorry, guys. I gotta believe this is the Wednesday I have another 11 o'clock, so I'll have to look for it on the recording and look to see how it turns out. But good seeing y'all.
See you
Bye.
later, Alan. Bye-bye.
Oops. You probably can't see it on the video, but the further down I go, the more space I have between here. And eventually, you could kind of see what it might start to look like. These are actually going to be legs. So I don't want the bottom of the box to be touching the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit of the bottom off and then round it over just to give it a little shape. I believe I gave myself about a ½ inch. And a quarter of an inch on the sides. So I'm going to round this over a little. All right, I'm going to try to go in with this parting tool to kind of straighten out the sides of this a little. Now, like a bow, you want to make sure you're not going to go through the bottom.
That's right.
So I'm going to actually measure that. I'm actually going to measure that so I don't go through the bottom. So let's see. Down to there. See from there to there. Yeah, I still got a little ways that I can go here. This is still about an inch thick. You guys, if it starts getting close to time, let me know and I'll, this might be a two-parter, we'll see.
And,
I'm having a little trouble because I really can't get the tool rest closer because of this. And the tool is really hanging over and it's starting to pull on me. So I'm another reason why I need to go a little slower.
how much of a hangover becomes a problem, Alan? Is it like 1 inch or 2 inches or 3 inches?
I'm sorry, what was that, Ken?
How much of a hangover of your tool over the tool rest becomes a problem? Is it like an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches?
You know, I guess it depends on the diameter of the tool and how much you're taking off and the length of your tool handle. Obviously, like when I'm doing hollowing, I mean, take a look, see if you can see these.
Oh,
Take
yeah.
the size of these handles compared to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
The more handle you have behind you, the more leverage you have.
Yeah.
So I might, if this starts to get a little bit crazy where it's starting to dip too much, I'm actually go in there with the hollowing tool and take the rest of this out. I got a little less than a half an inch to go, so we're almost there.
Can you wiggle your tool rest around to get closer?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a little nervous. I guess I could get a little bit closer, but I don't want it to hit here.
No, I mean by putting it like at a 45-degree angle and that kind of trick.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, on a bowl, you don't have this in the way, so you could stick it in there. But with this thing, it's kind of in the way. I can't really do that.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, thanks.
I mean, if I had they actually make small tool rests for making boxes that would fit right in there. But I'll just be careful. Hard for me to get the tool to be in the position I need it to be in. I'm gonna go to the hollowing tool. It's the scraper. It doesn't leave as nice a finish, but it's a little safer at this point. I think I want to shape the bottom of the box a little bit more. And I try to get this to gradually feed into it. All right, so I want to turn that off to see how far I have to go. right, we got to get that off. Okay. Actually, I can see. So I'm gonna. Yeah, I want to shape the bottom of this a little bit better. And I'll put a quick little design in there. Yeah, obviously this was not a great piece of wood to choose for this. You could have, let's see if you guys could see that. But there's a lot of, see if I get this light over that way more. There's a lot of chip out on here. But what I can do is I could actually go in there with the Dremel tool and actually smooth that to make it look like it's not chipped so badly. I could even go in here more and get this to be more of a, let's see. What time? Let me real quick look at the time. All right, it's 11:11, so I'm just gonna end it right there with that. I could finish this later, but now the trick is gonna be to get this off here. That was a pretty good fit. Because I should probably be using my rubber mallet for this. There we go. So let me put this up here. Kind of get an idea what it looks like. So what I'm really going to do is I'm going to finish this later on. And oops, looks like we're pretty backlit. I'm going to put it back up here. So I really need to be hollowing it out more so it actually comes up to here. I really need to get rid of the rest of that to finish this off. So basically what this is going to look like are 4 legs coming down. And then I'm going to put a top on this and probably with a little finial. And that's kind of what the box is going to look like. So.
Pretty cool.
Cool. I mean, it took a little bit longer than I expected, guys, but I was hoping to finish this today, but I think we're going to probably have to wait.
That's okay.
That's
Jack,
all right. Appreciate you taking the time to show us how to do it. That's really cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that kind of makes sense. If I actually get rid of this whole flat area, you could see that this will be, the legs will be thinner, and it'll look like a little spaceship kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you could still see that it's square, but
What? I
It's
thought
also-
it might turn out to be Santa Claus, but I guess I'm wrong.
yeah. Cool. All right, guys.
That's really, really neat.
All right. Yeah, I'm not. I got so this to me. I got all kinds of shapes all over me. I'm not really sure how long I'm supposed to go with these. I mean, Jack, are you there?
Who would think that wood shavings would make a guy look more handsome?
Yeah, right.
Ah,
I tell you, at this age, anything will make me look more handsome.
What are you going to do with the shavings, Alan?
What's that?
What are you going to do with the shavings?
Probably throw them in my compost.
Okay.
I may do a little research. I'm not sure if butternut wood is toxic to other plants. Like for instance, when I work with black walnut, I don't throw that where my plants are going to be because black walnut it puts chemicals into the ground that can kill plants.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little research on to see if it's toxic for composting or not.
Okay.
If not, I might just throw it in the chicken coop and they can waddle around in it. So basically, this was the piece that I was going to make the top out of. So you can imagine that. Well, hopefully you'll see it next time.
Next time, yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think next time might be.
From that standpoint, I have no reason to suspect that they did or will.
I
That's something-
don't understand that.
Is that background noise or was somebody talking?
We don't know.
Okay.
I think it's background noise.
So I think the schedule is starting to get a little slim because next month we have Thanksgiving, and the month after that we're going to have Christmas and so on. So we may only get one in next month. So I think next month I'll show you this hopefully when it's done. What I'll do is, you guys wanted to see some Christmas ornaments.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start off, I think we're going to start off with making a birdhouse Christmas ornament because that takes the longest. And if
Okay.
we have time, there's a lot of steps involved and a lot of jam chucks and all that stuff to make. So at the end, after we have time at the end, I'll just make a nice little simple one and I'll show you this really cool jig that I made to help me do that. I
Okay.
really like Christmas ornaments. And I usually, as a kid, when you think about it, at least when I think about it, when I was a kid, all Christmas ornaments were glass. Like they didn't have this plastic stuff like they do now or whatever. So
Yeah.
when I think of Christmas ornaments, I think of shiny, right?
Mhm.
So I almost always spray mine with lacquer to make it nice and shiny. And I like the effect and other people seem to. So, cool.
All
All right,
Look
guys.
forward to it. Thanks a lot, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you
We'll
guys
see you
coming.
next time.
See you
See you
next
next
time.
time, Alan.
Thanks a lot.